It's time. We
Yes.
are live.
It's time. We're
Once
live.
again,
Welcome
Rob
back.
Drew coming back at you from
Welcome
Phoenix,
back,
Arizona.
Rob Drew. Back in the
Yeah,
mix.
back in the game. If you missed me, I'm back.
It's been a while.
Yes,
What have you been up to,
Been popping
Rob?
a lot of wheelies, doing a lot of manual practice, really. Trying to polish up my manual game. I was taking notes. I was taking notes during the video.
Yeah. What did you think? Did I use your inputs well?
Yes, there's one thing that you touched on that I will try to elaborate on a little bit deeper because I think it's very critical.
Okay, hang on. We're gonna get to that. Let's not rush. What's new? What's new with you?
I have a couple of new bikes since last we talked live. I'm quite excited about them.
What are they?
The first one is my YT Industries Decoy, my full power e-bike that I'm having tons of fun riding.
Cheater bike, right?
Oh yeah, you know it.
Okay, so you're liking the Decoy, right?
The Decoy is legit. Yeah, very fun. Very fun. I think if you're going to ride a full power e-bike, so I had a shuttle previously, and the shuttle's a great bike, but it weighs 55 pounds. And if you're going to have a bike that's that big, that heavy a package, I just think it needs to be a long travel bike. You know, when you come down hard with that much mass, a 140 in the rear just is not enough.
That's what the shuttle was?
Shuttle's 140, 160. And the new version with the 38 on the front and the DPX2 was a vast improvement over the first one. But the DPX2 really, it may come with a Float X now, but it really needed a Float X, or I mean a X2. And that's what the Decoy Core 4 has got, a 38 e-bike, which is
Core 4 MX.
Core 4 MX, yeah. So 27.5 in the rear, 29 on the front. And it's, you know, it doesn't have the biggest battery, but so far I've done some gnarly rides and not killed the battery. So for me, it hasn't turned into an issue. And obviously, the bigger the battery, usually the heavier the bike. And I think this bike is 51 pounds, so it's pretty comfortable. I like it a lot.
How would you rate it in the e-bikes that you've ridden?
It's certainly the best one that I've ridden, and that's the reason why I decided to buy it. Because, like when I was with you out at YT and I demoed at that time, I don't typically jump on a bike and like it. I don't typically get on a bike the first time and I'm comfortable on it. And that was not something we planned. They just offered it to me. It was available. So I took it out, ripped it, and I couldn't stop smiling. It was so great. And so I tried some other things because availability was a problem.
Yeah.
And so I looked at some of the things that I could have gotten. And even, you know, the current Fazzari offering, it's kind of just, I could have got a Pivot likely for a good deal. I could have got the Fazzari, but they're the same size bike and they're not big enough for what I knew I was going to need. So I knew I wanted a long travel bike, and the Decoy has delivered.
Where do you see e-bikes going in the future? Do you see e-bikes taking over more, being accepted more?
I think they'll be accepted more, but it's funny because I just had this conversation last night with Alex. He was asking me, do you feel like you don't want to get back on the regular bike? And my answer is no. There's so many places where the e-bike isn't the best bike, the funnest bike to ride. But what's so fantastic about it, I told you, like I did this ride up National to the Buena Vista parking lot and back down in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And so when you're pushing that hard on the e-bike, the ups become challenging riding sections because you're going way faster than you normally would. So suddenly turns are catching you off guard.
Yeah.
You're finding uphill double ups that you never even considered on a regular bike. And so it just opens up areas for fun and challenge that a regular bike can't give you. But then if I'm trying to go fast down like Old Man, I can't go as fast down Old Man as I can on my Firebird or the Z Road. I mean, it just, you have to make concessions, but it doesn't mean it's not fun.
Yeah, that's constantly something I think you have to explain to people who don't know, especially a purist like him. You have to have an open mind, and I think you have to embrace the differences, embrace what it's all about. It's just, the whole thing is comical to me when people like Colorado is a prime example, dude. Colorado just like as a whole hates e-bikes, and I don't get it.
I think any purist towns, because Sedona's the same way. You can't ride. I mean, people do it anyway because there's no police out there pulling people over. But you're not supposed to ride any of the greatest hits trails on an e-bike. Even Flagstaff, you know, the real cool trails, you're not supposed to ride a e-bike on them. And I don't see where it causes any problems. It's purely political. I don't think there's real world issues, but I'm not a trail builder. I don't maintain the trails. And so, you know, I'll respect what the rules are. But yeah, I believe politically more and more people will be finding their way to e-bikes. And as that constituency grows, so will their influence.
Yeah. I want to dive into this. I want to dive in a little bit more at some point. We're not going to do it now. What's the other new bike you have?
The other new bike, very, very exciting. So this was... So like the propane, you know, I was one day perusing Pink Bike and up came images of the propane Spindrift. And I thought to myself, and this was while I was still a pivot rider, man, I bet I would enjoy riding that bike.
Yeah.
It's a very big bike. So I thought, that's a little bit too big for me. But when I went on their website, I saw that they had the 160, 170 bike, the Tai. And so I jumped on it and it's been great. But another company that I found that same way was Bold. And so Bold is out of Switzerland in the same town that Scott is. And so some people may know that the new Spark is basically, that's a Bold.
Yeah, they licensed
Scott bought a large percentage of Bold and has chosen to keep them separate entities, but now they have access to the technology. And anyway, the bike just really struck me. It's so clean and sleek. And so the problem is Bold doesn't sell bikes in the US. I was told by 22 that they would be distributing through Scott dealers, but so far that hasn't happened. And with the supply chain circumstances, with everything that's gone on in the world, it's no surprise to me that they're not yet available. But I've been looking for an S4 stump jumper Evo. I really liked the Evo when I rode the S3. It was just too small. So I wanted, before I even do a review, I want to get the right bike, and it would be an S4. So every day I go on and I look for an S4. And the other day, what popped up? A Bold Unplugged Volume 2, which is the Volume 1 was a longer travel bike. The Volume 2 is 150 rear. You can run 150 or 160 in the front. But some of the key features to that bike are the fact that, so there it is. So they offer an angle set in the headset that has a 2-degree swing.
Wow, that is a beautiful bike.
It's so sexy looking. And in the rear, if you look at the chainstays, at the back of the chainstays where they attach to the seat stays, inside there are these eccentrics that you can flip around. And they offer 2 sets, which give you 4 different positions. And they offer 11 millimeters of adjustability in the wheelbase. And from the shortest to the longest, you can... along the way, you adjust the bottom bracket by 20 millimeters. So it's one of the most adjustable bikes I've ever seen. And right now, I have just the neutral headset. The bike sits at 63-degree head angle. It's the slackest bike I have.
That's insane. And you can ride it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not the longest wheelbase bike I have because I got a medium, but the reach feels really good. And so the only knock I have on this bike is because the shock is located vertically in the bottom of the seat tube, it interrupts the distance that a dropper can plunge. And so what I read about it was you can comfortably put a 125 millimeter dropper, and that I would have tried that, but the shortest dropper I had was a 150. So I crammed it in there as deep as it would go. And the high saddle position is right where I'd like it to be. The low saddle position was really higher than I'd like. I'd like it to be an inch lower, and I like my saddle really low. But when I went out and rode the bike, there have been places, like I think I told you, when I put the Cascade link in my Levo SL, it raised the bike so much that when the saddle was down, it felt like something was wrong with the dropper because the seat was an annoyance. No time that I've ridden this bike have I noticed the saddle when I'm riding.
Yeah.
When I'm manualing, it feels like it's a little, it's kind of in the way.
Yeah.
But that's the only circumstance. Normal riding, it hasn't bothered me at all. And so I'm really thrilled with the bike. But if you go back, if you click the trail button and you go back and look at the Lincoln,
yeah,
that is probably
me too.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me tell MLO Visual. No, we're not. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get to the manual topic pretty soon.
Yeah, you're in good position because we haven't talked about it at all yet.
Lincoln, what 150 Ultimate?
And click any of those and look at the bike.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So what they've done with this bike is they've put the shock in the bottom horizontally.
Look at those tires, Rob. Look at those tires. Oh.
Yeah, I could do without those tires actually,
no.
but the way that they laid this bike out just blows my mind. And if you look at how the suspension linkage attaches to the shock, it's completely insane. These guys have done some really slick engineering, and that bike is capable of either 135 or 150. And if you buy the frame, you get the piece that goes inside that changes it from one to the other with the same shock. Yeah, so it's such a cool setup. So that I'm told by them that bike will be available in the US soon. Right now, I don't think it is, and I would like to. How many bikes in my stable now? So you'll be all happy to know that I did just sell one. But right now, I currently have 7 bikes.
What are they?
Fazzari Delano Peak, Pivot Firebird, YT Izzo, YT Decoy, Z-Road Catapo, Propane Tai. What am I missing? Shit, what am I missing?
I guess that's it.
That could be it. I think I'm missing something.
Look at this. No, they went into e-bikes and are now bragging about bikes they have no one else can currently buy. Don't say they. It's not me. It's Rob.
Well, hey, this frame, I got this frame for $2,200, and the thing is gorgeous. It's beautiful. I bought it used. I mean, I got my hands on it. I'm stoked.
Look at Dippin's sweet profile pic right there, bro.
Dude, that guy's a Ride Series alum. I know he's legit. That's all I need to know.
Rob's been jabbering. Yeah, definitely.
A lot of gum flapping going on here. Hey, Jeff, take it easy on me, buddy. It's been a while since I was live.
Wagner Creative.
Oh, man.
Rob, do you have any thoughts on a hardcore hardtail?
You know, I had a Niner Ross 9 one time, and I have to tell you, every time I rode that bike, I liked it. It was very fun. But the problem I have is I have a ruptured disc in my lower back, and it is not cool with a hardtail. It kills me. You know, one wrong move and I get a jolt into my spine and I'm finished for like a month. So I just can't ride them for that reason. And my riding style leverages the suspension a lot. I ride my bikes open. And so I just am I like seat bounce the bike a lot. And to do that on a rigid bike, it's a recipe for disaster.
I'll probably get one if the opportunity arises just to have, because here I could justify riding it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like Lego Technic Creations. You got to multitask. I dig that. So let me say this before we're going to jump into the manuals, but we're doing pretty good, 60 plus people. So anybody who was here last time, when we did this, I let everybody in on a little story that I had a good friend whose son had to have brain surgery and had to have a tumor removed. And we said that we were going to match whatever we could get through the super chat. And we did that. It was cool. We got $500 in super chat. So Sarah and I matched it. And then about a day later, I got just a random email that said, "Hey man, I want to match that." So
match your match. I raise you.
Yeah. I was able to send them $1,500. And, I waited a couple of days to send it, and right as I was about to send it, I saw an update on Facebook, and unfortunately, the tumor is malignant, and so this young man's going to have to go through chemo and some other things, and I can't. It's one of those things, dude. I can't even.
It hits hard.
Yeah, dude. Like just
especially for you having a son.
Yeah, dude. Just thinking about having to go through that. And they're such a positive family, and he's such a positive dude. And when I sent it to him, his response, he's like, dude, I don't know what to say. And I said, dude, you don't need to say anything, dude. Just go love on that little dude and be there for your family. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. So anything we get, we're going to obviously give to them. Whatever we could raise, I'm sure it's money can only do so much in a situation like this. So, thoughts and support, positive vibes, things like that. It's a tough deal that they're going through, and anything we can do to help is going to be, something. So,
all right. So that said, you're pulling on my heartstrings. I'm going to up the ante and say that I will match the match. So anybody who wants to pillage my bike fund, get generous. I'll match whatever the total amount is. I'll match whatever you match.
Rob's going to match the total amount, Mama. Okay, so you heard it. You better hope that a couple certain
I dare you
are
to
here.
bankrupt me.
Yeah. So we'll see. Oh my God, dude! I knew it.
Hey now. All right, man,
Casey just dropped.
That's
99.
A good start. I'm proud 99. Of you. Bring it on.
Casey's a really cool dude. Casey's a really cool dude, Rob. I'd love for
99, 125, 125, 150, 150, 99.
What? Which Casey? Don't worry about it. So where is, I thought he said, so just real quick, Casey says he's loving his Stumpy Evo. He's got the Zeb up front with the headset in the steep position. Yeah, dude. I like it.
So I was running a 170 Lyric on the S3 with the headset in the steep position with the rear high. And I thought it was fantastic. It wasn't even that it was too small. The problem I had with it was it's so much smaller than all the rest of my bikes.
Yeah.
It required a drastic adjustment to deal with the shorter wheelbase. And so I borrowed my buddy's S4 and rode it around, and it confirmed to me that the S4 is the size I really need. That would tie it in with the rest of my fleet, and it wouldn't be a big adjustment to change.
He's a big dude, so I think he's got at least a 5.
Yeah, S5 is just such a monster.
Big old bike. Mikey, thanks, dude. $10.
Every bit helps, bro. Every bit helps.
Indeed, for
your 10 becomes 30.
I know, man. Yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm excited to send it over to him again. All right, we got 17 and a half minutes in. Let's talk about manuals. Okay. So I think the best way to start is for you. Hey, thank you, Miguel.
Miguel, awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Such a rad dude. Miguel, I think, has been in every single one of these chats. So good to have Miguel here. Let's talk about your manual journey. And it's pretty new for you. Like last time we rode, you're getting pretty proficient at it. And wow, dude. Joshua, dude, unbelievable. Man.
Say what?
I don't know if you saw earlier, Joshua, you got to come back again. He said something about the decal that is criminal rim decal placement on the Bold. I don't know what that means.
Criminal rim decal placement. Well, it has cushion core decals.
The Bold on the website. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know exactly what it is, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. But either way, Joshua, thank you so much, dude. That is really, really awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't expect people to step up that big. I should have known better, dude. This community's unbelievable.
I dare that.
All right. So talk about manuals, dude. I don't know if people know, but you're horrible at manuals for a long time.
Yeah. So I'm an old guy, and manuals are they're a new trick. That wasn't something you aspired to when I was young and riding bicycles. And so it wasn't something I had in the repertoire.
New tricks.
Well, and I will argue that now, but the point that I want to make is a year ago, or maybe it's a little longer now, when we would discuss manuals, my position was it's not a necessary skill. It's a parlor trick. It's not something you need to know. And I don't know that I want to change that statement, but what I want to say is once you have got a somewhat of a command of it, you have a whole new appreciation of the relative position of your body and how it affects the bike.
Okay, so hang on. We're going to get to that because this is very important. So MLO visuals, dude, he says his decimal point won't move over like Casey's. It doesn't matter.
Just do that 9 more times.
99 cents. Brian, where's Brian? Brian Barger stepping up, dude, with $49.99. Thank you so much.
$49.99.
Jason asked.
But now what would you pay?
What are we giving money for? Jason, I don't know if you were on the last one, dude, but I have a really good friend whose son had to have a brain tumor removed. And now he has to go through chemo and radiation. So what we're trying to do is help them out. Last time we did a live, everybody together gave $500. And so Sarah and I matched it. And then we had just a random viewer match it as well. So we were able to give him $1,500. So we're going to match again. Rob's going to match again, or Rob's going to match as well. So dude, look at this. Jeff Larson, dude, what a rad guy. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that, dude.
Thanks,
and we're going to keep going with the manual talk and I'll just keep bringing this up, Rob. So be prepared.
Yeah.
You said earlier, and it was very telling and I think pretty impactful. Your stance on this was you don't need to learn how to manual. It doesn't really do anything for you. It's a parlor trick. But once you learn how to do it, you now realize there is a place for it. There is a benefit for it on the trail.
It's a very advanced, nuanced move. But if you can do it, there are so many other places where that awareness of the effect your mass has. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Your body weight is the most significant tool you have to be effective on the bike. But the manual is the place where you can literally thread the needle and feel just how impactful it can be. The slightest move of your hips can make or break the manual, and the timing of it. So I talk with we don't address it so much in the ride series, or we haven't yet. But what I talk about with my private clients is there's three things that have to do with your weight that are relevant on the bike. The first one is where your weight is going, and the speed with which your weight is going there. And so in order to do those things, you have to start in the right place. And that's why we always talk about if you're back to like coming into a drop, if you're back coming into a drop, and then you find yourself needing to get back, now you can't get back. And so you laid your cards down too soon. Manuals are the opportunity to learn just how critical that body movement is and how effective it can be to perform a task while you're on the bike. And it's the same thing for cornering and stuff. But when you're sitting on both wheels, you can't feel the bias of your weight. It's you're a little detached from it until you wash out, or and that's a situation where if you wash out, your weight was probably too far back, not too far forward. And so the manual is the place where you can understand how your weight affects the bike and the balance of the bike. And until you do it, you can't appreciate it.
Okay. And so that's going to be the next step. That's going to be the segue. Jason, thanks so much. I was certain you were there for that last one. Thank you for that. That's rad. Dipping. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. And then Matt coming in with 50, and then Carlos. Thank you so much. Carlos.
Love it. Thank you so much, everybody.
So Carlos, I think that right there, I think that's Jess. That must be your wife. Carlos, tell me if that's, I think that's Jess. I think that's his wife. Dude, she's.
If it's your girlfriend, Rich just spilled the beans on you.
Anyways, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think she is putting up Kyle in April for Bentonville Bike Fest.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think. I'm not certain. So it is. Yes. See, I was right.
Nice.
So now, okay, great segue, dude. So let's talk about, very quickly, Jordan. Thanks so much, dude. Jordan's coming in town soon. I think he said he's coming. He's coming like next week, I believe, is what he said. So I'm hoping.
Lenosky was asking me if I was going to be at the Bentonville Bike Fest.
Nah, dude.
I told him, I don't know, man. It's up to Rich Drew.
It's not high level.
I can't go to Bentonville without Rich Drew's permission.
You can't. So very quickly, wait a minute, Casey. He was laughing at you earlier, but we completely understand if you only match to a certain amount, dude. He ain't like that, dude. He'll match whatever.
I just sold a bike. I'll throw it all if you guys bring it.
Yeah, he's gonna do it. So
play that. It's only money and you can't take it with you, but you can do good things with it.
Very true. The weight is the key. Let's talk about you and how you got there and what the biggest impediments for you were.
So, well, first thing I will say is obviously you've been manualing well for a long time. I'm a fan of Cody Kelly. I've had opportunities to ride with the guy. I dig him. I watch Win Masters. As much as I would tell myself it's not necessary, I was very envious watching people who did it well. And that's the thing
Sting.
That's
you're,
the thing
you're a fan of his music. You
don't
listen
absolutely.
to it.
I don't listen to it, but I respect that he's making it.
I'm a fan of manuals. I can't do them, but I'm a fan.
Well, it's one of those things when somebody has that kind of nuanced control, it's very obvious they're a talented rider. You can't do that and not have some skills.
Yes.
What's ironic is there's young kids I've met who can manual, but they can't wheelie. And that strikes me as very strange. Anyway, I would likely have continued the rest of my life not caring that I couldn't manual. But Jason Blodgett, our friend from SRAM, came out and spent some time with me. And when you watch that guy implement excessive manuals, not like Jeff Kendallweed, but like purposeful, technical, efficient use of it, like an amazing tool. And it's like, oh my God, look at this.
So
this is possible. I could be doing this if I could do this trick.
I didn't know this was why. This is fascinating for me. So go back very quickly. Now, Jeff, Jeff, you've ridden with Jeff.
Yeah. Jeff's an incredibly talented rider, but I think he manuals to a tiring level. That's not something that seems reasonable or sensible. And I mean, I respect it. It's cool. And I can't ride like he can ride, but watching him ride doesn't inspire me to want to ride like that. Watching Jason Blodgett utilize a manual.
Fair statement.
In a more subtle way, but very effectively for performance, not for show, for performance, made me have to rethink.
So good point for anybody listening. And again, these are opinions here, everybody.
Absolutely. Everything I'm saying is the way that I perceive it. Maybe not reality.
So then let's do this because people are asking some questions, and I want to get into those questions. But first, let me ask you this: can you explain a situation on the trail where manualing is advantageous?
Absolutely.
Please go.
So if you think about trying to jump a bike, and I do a lot of double ups on the trail out here. So the stuff that I'm taking off of is very small. And when you're dealing with the wheelbase of a bike, sometimes everything like we talk about in the clinics is time windows. When you amplify the speed, you reduce the window of time you have to create the force you're trying to create, the trajectory you're trying to create. Well, the beauty of a manual is you can set the front wheel already in the direction you want it to go, and just hit the takeoff with the back wheel. And so you can avoid all the time it takes to compress the front and get the takeoff. And if you're talking about a long travel bike at speed, you just may not have enough time to get it down fully compressed and get it back up. Well, in a manual, you've already loaded the back. The front is already up.
Yeah.
And so if you anticipate the angle, you can just bump the back, get your arc, and you're ahead of the game. And this is something that if you don't have a handle on the skill, this is way above. We're talking over the heads of people sometimes. But once you get a feeling of it, and I still, on undulating terrain, I can't hold it. I don't have that anticipation figured out. I'm working on it all the time, but for a specific move, like 15, 20, 30 feet before something, I can set it into position and I can utilize it like that. And it has become, if you watch videos of me riding now, when I come to Bentonville again, I will ride probably much differently than I did last time I was there. And and
well,
I
it's
think it will be more fun.
Here.
Yeah. Well, there's so many places where you can utilize it there. And it's very exciting for me because it's another one of those things where I didn't, at this age, after all I've been through, I've been thrilled just to be able to continue to ride the bike, but to be able to get PRs on trails is just mind numbing to me. And it's obviously says something about the fact that the bikes continue to get better, but I feel like I am getting more skilled as a rider. And that to me is awesome. And it's a testament to bikes. It's a testament to bikes.
It's a testament to bikes, but is there anything else you attribute that to? Because I feel the same way, and I attribute it heavily to teaching. Absolutely.
The clinics put us in a place to do the practicing that we tell people to do, but they refuse to do.
Yeah.
That gives us an excuse to have to do it. And it works. Every time I do clinics, I am a technically better rider immediately after because I focus on the things, when we race and we're struggling, we're like, dude, focus on the corners, eyes up, all the most rudimentary things that nobody wants to work on. But that's the difference between doing well and struggling.
There's other things there. I don't want to get into them.
Well, I'm in a place with Jen about the whole, keeping your eyes up. And her thing to me is, you don't understand how that is challenged by the fear I feel. And I said, I do understand that, but I also know the minute you raise your gaze, the fear will go away because all the things that keep surprising you won't surprise you anymore. It's like flipping a light switch.
So I want to go off, not necessarily on a tangent, but you've brought something up that I have talked about a lot recently. Do you appreciate, or are you cognizant, is it somewhat front of mind, and do you appreciate the fact that you can't understand what she's feeling?
I am aware of that. I still, I'll never see what it looks like looking through your eyes. I can't relate,
Well, and I guess what I mean at a deeper level is you and I are similar in that regard. Kyle Warner, anybody who's been riding a bike at a high level since they were 5 to 8 years old, I think is in a similar boat to us.
Yeah.
We can't appreciate what somebody who came to riding mountain bikes or bikes later in life is going through. We can't, dude. We can only make assumptions and give it insight into what we do and why it works. But dude, that's a very challenging thing. Now,
I agree. But what I will argue is the emotions don't change the facts.
No.
The emotions don't change the physics.
Whoa.
If you do the thing, the result will be this. The result will be there.
Get out of here with your rationality. Come on. Let's answer this question. Learn to wheelie first or manual? Not good at either. Feel like I'm just doing power wheelies for 5 to 10 pedal strokes. Maybe manuals will help get the technique down. I don't think they play into each other personally. I think they're very different.
They're very different tools. And what I would say in retrospect, there's really no practical place to wheelie on the trail while you're riding. That's a true parlor trick. Again, it's one I respect and one I've enjoyed. Rich, you build up a new bike. The first thing you do is go out on the street and pull it up in a wheelie and see how's the balance point. How's this baby wheelie?
Dude, the Manuel test. Every single bike, dude.
But a manual is a high-level, regularly implementable tool to be able to ride efficiently. And so I would say that's something that you should have in your tool belt. Wheeling, you could do without. But the reality is, if you can manual, wheeling is not going to be a challenge for you.
Let me ask you this then. Can you define a manual, Rob? What is a manual? What makes a manual?
A manual is is riding on the back wheel for a suspended duration of time and balancing only with the movement of your hips. Now you have the brake as a catch if you fail to catch it and you're looping out, but it's not a standing wheelie coasting against the brake. That's not a manual. If you're not shifting your hips to hold the balance, That's not a manual. That's my argument.
Okay.
That's a variation of a wheelie, like a coasting wheelie.
Okay. So hang on. Let's go with a couple here. I definitely agree with the training episode. The day I took TRS, I was cornering better the rest of the day. That's usually what happens.
The next day, I was terrible.
You know, this is something that I go through time and time and time again, and even more so now. This is what I would bring that back to, Mikey. When we talked about how to turn in that clinic, there were 3 things that were critically important. The first 2, you can't argue with. It's physics and gravity. Physics and gravity rule. The third is my experience and everybody else's experience from the coaching staff there. We have a lot of experience turning bikes. And what we did was we talked about how to turn a bike based on our experience. We weren't saying what we were told to say. And I think that's a very critical thing, because we just watched a video earlier, Rob. Last night, you sent me a video last night. And somebody showed turning. We worked on this, we worked on that, and we worked on turning. And they had people going through turns, flat turns with level pedals, which just does not work. It's not a matter of opinion. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's part of it.
The instruction side is a tricky thing, but I would argue, I don't have much interest in learning how to do something from somebody who can't actually do it. You could read a book to learn what to tell somebody about anything in life. But if you can't do it, if you don't have the experience of actually implementing the thing that you're telling somebody else to do, how do you even know, does it really work? What if somebody's pranking you and giving you false instruction and you're conveying that to somebody else, which, as far as I'm concerned, some of these other curriculums might as well be.
Yeah. Well, this is a great comment by Casey. He talked about Ben Cathro seeming to get better at a later age after he started the instructional series on the Pink Bike channel. It only stands to reason.
Absolutely.
Because
when you start paying attention to the thing, that's how we started.
Yeah.
The first thing we asked ourselves was, what could we do to be better? And then we talked to other people who were great, the people who did things that we couldn't do. And we broke them down to try to set, some of the highest level guys were like, I don't know, I just do it. But then some of the other people had much more nuanced answers that provided great benefit to us. But through it all, the easiest thing we could have done was just franchise somebody else's curriculum. But there was nothing out there that was what we were looking for or what we wanted to convey.
Well, Ben Cathro, I think, is a prime example of somebody who rides at an
He's a
incredibly
high
high level.
And he has publicly made some enormous mistakes. So like me, he has the benefit of that experience, because the one thing I tell people about bikes is everything is about experience. The only way you'll know is when you experience it. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of the bad outcome circumstances are tremendous experience. If you survive, it's good information.
Yep.
And that's the stuff you don't want anybody else to have to experience, but to be able to share that experience is very valuable. And so I would say you want to look for somebody who knows as much what not to do because they've done it wrong.
Yeah.
Because that way they can tell you how to avoid that fork in the road. Hey, don't go that way. And let me tell you why.
So let me ask you this, in your opinion, what is the biggest thing holding most people back from actually being able to legitimately manual?
They don't have a comfort level of what that sensation feels like. Like, what's the tipping point feel like?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That
was the thing for me. My single biggest concern was not looping out. I have a command of the back brake well enough. I didn't think I'd loop out. What I did think I would do is I would get too much rear brake. My knees would collapse as the bike was coming down, and I would go over the handlebars. That was always my fear.
Wow, I didn't know
vivid. That was my vivid fear. Yeah, because I don't have the leg strength you have, Rob, to be able to hold the bike.
Thank you for being vulnerable. We all appreciate vulnerability here.
I got to tell the truth, baby. I got to tell the truth.
So I think that's a big one. I like that. I think that's fear. I think, practice, we're talking about practice, and that's the other thing. And somebody said it earlier is you have to be diligent and work at it, because
absolutely. I would every night I would go out in front of the house and do like at least 15, 20 minutes of manuals coming down the street. And I would set goals. I would set distance targets. And the first trick that I implemented to help myself was, and you touched on it in that video, you're going to use the brake as your backup. And so you not just have your finger on the brake, pull the dead pull till the brake engages. Don't apply pressure to it, but that's your starting position. So there is literally no hesitation in applying the brake, because even the time it takes to pull the free play, what happens is you may not know exactly when it's going to engage and you over apply it. That's the thing you want to avoid. So if you're there breathing on the brake, when you need that brake, you just instantly, the slightest bit of brake, and you can recover. What I find is more often if I introduce any brake, I lose the manual. It just interrupts. I mean, sometimes I have to do it, but when I do it, it usually interrupts the manual. And that's mainly because all my bikes kind of brake a little bit different. And so, some I'll go, whoa, and you have to give it more brake, and some will be just breathe on it and it brings the front wheel down. But I've never, thankfully, come down hard and gone over the handlebars, because that was the thing I made every adjustment to avoid. Yeah. And so I think that single device, that single setup trick was the thing that gave me the confidence to commit. Yeah. Because what I would do in the beginning is just pull it up against the brake, have the brake there, just over pull and get into that place where I knew, okay, I don't want to go farther back than this, and then bring it back down. And after I was comfortable engaging the brake, then I would try, you pull up and you go 10 feet, then you pull up and you go 15 feet, you pull up and go 20 feet. Pretty soon you over pull and you have to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's challenging because you don't know what that one is.
Well, and another key element that I attribute to you, because I was initially just pulling the bike up. And the problem that we know with pulling is you likely will pull uneven. And so if you just pull, what you find is the bike starts listing to one side or the other and you can't recover it. Yeah. So the ticket, like you said, was push down, like compress the bike and then hips back. Yeah, in a fluid move. And I saw another guy do a manual video where he talked about an L, down and back, down and back. And that is the key, because if you compress the bike and then bring it up on the rebound, it's coming from the compression and it's even force.
So what's so funny is the first video I said back and down, back and down, back and down. And then I watched the video and I didn't pick it up.
You meant to say down and back.
I meant to say down and back. Dude, I did it again this video. I said back and down. So
he didn't mean it.
I guess
dyslexia.
We got to do another one. Ariel, dude. Ariel's a rad dude. Thanks, buddy. $20. This is all going to go to my buddy's son, who is going through chemo and radiation right now for a tumor that he had removed in his brain. So we appreciate that. We got some good numbers, dude. Like, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to tell him what we're going to get. You talked about something, and it was committing. And I think for me, that's the thing that is the most challenging for people, is just straight up, you have to commit. Like, you have to stay back. I've seen over and over and over again, people do everything right. They fire back and then boom, they come forward. And they can't find it within themselves to stay back for that fraction of a second longer.
So on that,
get that feeling.
On that note, what I will say, and there's been a lot of debate about this, people ask, is a manual machine worth it? And my answer to that, after building two of them, absolutely it is. Because it's not going to teach you the manual, but what it will teach you in a very safe way is what's the angle of attack the bike will be in to balance. Yeah. There's so many dynamics that play on that balance when you're moving, when you're in grass, when you're on rolling asphalt. But the key is you can pull the bike up in a safe way. And I recommend, if you're going to do this on one of these, take the chain off. Yeah. Because you can't have the chain kick back. The pedals have to be able to move free. When you pull it back, now you can start to feel how you can, when you counterweight the bike with your hips, with your knees extended and your hips as far back as possible, you start to notice, okay, the front wheel can be lower and I can create balance. Or if your hips move forward, the bike has to be higher. And you can develop that relationship just so you recognize what it looks like when you're close to the place the bike needs to be. And then you take it to the street and you try it. But that, I think, for me, for $20 worth of wood, actually nowadays it's probably $200 worth of wood. It's a great way to safely feel the place where the bike wants to be. And so I would recommend people start that way. But I wouldn't buy like a tilt trainer or something that's a substantial investment. I wouldn't buy it because you're only going to use this thing for a brief period of time. And actually, if you reach out to your network, wherever you live, I guarantee somebody's already built one and it's sitting collecting dust in their garage. I can tell you, Jason Lamb from Hausaholics has one of mine. I gave it to him 2 years ago at Hausfest and have never gotten it back. So Jason, if you're watching or if you happen to see this, please pay it forward, pass that on to somebody else who might want to learn to manual.
Well, so what's so great about that is I let you run with that because I have very little input on it. My input on it is I've tried it like twice and I can't do it.
But you already knew how to manual. So trying to use it when you already know it's not effective there. But the place where it's good is in the very beginning to give you an idea, because you see people like pulling the front wheel up 2 inches off the ground and go, dude, I'm manualed. You're like, no, man, you didn't. You have to be able to understand how far the bike has to come up to even approach the balance point, or you're not getting it. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
And until you get it to the point where you have to shift your hips, like you start out way back counterweighting the bike, and until you get to the point where you have to shift your hips forward to stop that thing from coming up, now you're playing the game.
Yeah. So let me see if I can do this as we're talking. So hang on a second. I'm going to pull up another screen here.
Okay.
And see, because you talked about getting a video. I think I have one.
Yeah. The other thing I would say to people is the movement of your hips almost needs to be preemptive. If you wait too long, you're going to miss it. And so you almost have to move in advance and then counter move. There's a lot of movement going on because it's like you're juggling.
Yeah, we got a couple. Hang on. I'm going to try this one. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm coming back. You can still see me though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Screen sharing. I'm still figuring out how to work this. We're going to do Chrome tab. Okay, so I have one here.
Yeah, see the hips moving. The angle of the bike, you don't even really see the angle of the bike change. And
you don't.
That's a case of how it's so subtle, it's very hard to recognize. And that's the challenge. You need to get the bike in the place. And it's like a 1.5 degree window that you can command with your hips. And if you get outside of that, the range, the movement of your hips is not enough.
Yeah. Oh, look at that hip drive.
Yeah, that's getting
thrust.
Yeah, that's like a thrust.
And I'm looking over. That's next level. So here, hang on. Let's try.
We'll talk about that in a few months.
Yeah. Okay. So here is another one.
Is this the one where you're trying to do it for a minute?
Yeah, I didn't realize how short the road was, but this one is a little bit slower. So speed definitely plays a role. I think it's a little bit more difficult at slower speeds.
Yes, I think the faster you're going, the easier it is to do it.
Yeah, at some point I'll get going here.
Your bike looks like a toy with that fisheye.
How dare you talk about the Hefty that way?
Hefty.
Okay, ready? Boom, there it is, the L.
Yeah.
Look at the hip action, but look at the bike. The bike is basically staying in that spot.
Yeah, and it's so weird because someone who doesn't know the forces at work right there might think you're just doing that for looks.
Oh, dude, people don't understand it. Like, why are you moving your hips so much?
You know what's funny is you having that pack plays a role. It's different with the pack. Anything that creates a counterweight will change the whole thing.
I agree,
a bike with longer chain stays is different.
That's what's the signal is really difficult to manual because it's so short. Hang on, dude, I got it. Oh my God, hang on. This is great. Just nice. Trying to keep it real. I'm freezing up a little bit there, so I'm sorry about that, everybody.
Glitching.
Yeah, I think we're coming back. I think we got it back. This is a great one here, that the movement to balance becomes subconscious pretty early on in the learning. Well, like Rob said, it's experience. Once you experience what that sensation is, what the outcome is, then you can start to counter it because you need to counter it. But until you get it, you're not going to know what it's like. Like, I'd be shocked if somebody's like, oh, I've never manualed, and they popped up and they start doing the Chubbs Peterson like that, I do, without knowing. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, when you don't know the sensation you're looking for, you're not going to recognize it when you're there.
No. And again, that's one of those things that comes back to, you can read all about it. I can explain it in a video. We can explain it on this forum. But until you get out and experience it and correlate what we're saying to what happens and what that sensation is, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So an addendum to the manual trainer. What I will tell you is you likely won't be able to master the balance on the manual trainer. You can get an idea for what shifting the hips will do, but the dynamic forces at work when you're actually trying to manual, you will find are different. And so you really want to use the trainer just as an introduction to the trajectory of the bike. That's where that thing is valuable. And then once you start doing it, you likely aren't going to go back to that device.
Oh, no.
But I would say if you spend a solid 30 minutes, it doesn't have to be all at once, but 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, playing with the trainer.
Yeah.
That'll be enough time to let that thing do what it's good for. And then you go, probably to a grassy place is best. But you mentioned on the video that you think flat pedals are better for manuals. But what I would say is,
whoa. Wait a minute.
No, they may be better. That they may be better when you're starting out. And my assumption was what you meant was easier to escape.
Yeah.
But what I would argue is, I don't think it makes a difference. If you're on aggressive flat pedals, you have weight on both of your feet.
Can we
You're not sitting on the seat.
Dude, you always find a way to bring flat pedals back in.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying either is fine.
It is.
I just don't want anybody to think that they'll be able to get their feet off the pedals.
Yeah.
But because they're going to have weight on the pedals, it's going to be hard to escape.
I have to.
You may loop out.
I have to post some footage, dude. We got some Crank Brothers stamp pedals, like really good flat pedals, and shoes for Sarah. Dude, she came back with the biggest smile on her face. She dug it. Okay, very quickly, let's get into this one here because Miguel asked this earlier. He doesn't want to derail the topic, but he wants to take advantage of you being on here, Rob, with the suspension question. Why don't more bikes have dual crown forks like dirt bikes? Wouldn't they benefit from it?
It's funny. When I started riding mountain bikes coming off a moto, that was very difficult to trust. I really was not comfortable. As a matter of fact, one of the first bikes I owned was a Specialized Enduro, 2007. And that was back when they had their own suspension, and it was a dual crown fork.
Yeah.
And I feel like weight is always going to be a consideration on bikes. And I think that the weight of a dual crown fork, the performance you can get out of like a Zeb or a 38 nowadays, I just can't see a justification to need a dual crown fork.
Yeah.
And although there is certainly if you watch super slow-mo videos of the bike coming down, there's some deflection going on there, but I don't find that it bothers me. I never thought a 36 flexed a lot till I rode a 38. I never thought a Lyric flexed a lot till I rode a Zeb. And so everything's relative, but I've done some testing on downhill bikes. I've owned some downhill bikes, and I feel like everywhere I care to ride, even at bike parks, I like riding a trail bike better than a downhill bike. I enjoy it more, and because you can take it and actually ride somewhere too, which you could never do on a downhill bike.
Yeah.
I just don't see a need for a downhill bike, and certainly the weight of a dual crown fork is probably part of it.
Bike riders worry too much about weight. That's why, says the Red Mountain Goat.
He's correct about that, but he is one to worry about weight.
I know he does. Yeah. Dude, we're almost to $500.
Red Mountain Goat is in North Carolina right now.
Oh, is he?
Took him to the airport this morning.
I'm
assuming he made it safely. He's
borrowing
somebody else's bike. No, he didn't take a bike with him. I think he's going to Pisgah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's in Asheville or I'm not sure what town he's in. Alex, what town are you in?
Yeah, dude. Like Casey said, Zeb.
That's true. Yeah, and with a dual crown fork, you can't do bar spin tricks. So I mean, geez, what good is that?
No.
Obviously, they're going away in downhill too. Pretty soon in the cup races, they'll be doing flip tricks and freaking bar spins.
Yeah. Yeah, someday soon. MTB show. What's up, young man? He's riding Brevard. Yeah, I wonder what he's riding. He borrowed a bike. What kind of bike is he riding?
I don't know what he's riding.
I wonder if he's at liberty to say. Okay, we're gonna start wrapping this up. But dude, I don't know if you heard me. We're almost at $500.
Right on, dude.
We have raised.
It's a bargain at 3 times the price.
So that means each of us is you and I are both gonna kick in $500 for the family to help out.
There's still time. Yeah. There's still time. Dig deep, everybody.
What are we?
Show me the money.
No, what are we? This is like the Jerry Lewis telethon or something.
That's right. We can't.
We still got time. Casey, come on, dude. You don't need to keep
for
doing
your
this.
Matching fund.
Dude, he's like, that's $120 for him. This is a good one. Dude. I'm very curious what you think here, Rob.
Well, I don't. We've talked about this, and I'm certainly not trying to poop on flat pedals. I don't have a circumstance where I feel like I'm more effective on flats. And usually the argument is like this. I would say, if you're talking about slippery conditions and getting your foot down quicker, I feel more trapped on flats because you have to lift your foot straight up, and I'm not programmed to that.
Yeah.
With all my weight, I heel out and I'm down to the ground.
I know that's you. That's a little bit different. That's a tough one.
I agree. But my point is, I don't have unique limbs that provide me the ability to escape a clipped-in pedal easier than another person. I just have practiced to understand how to quickly do it.
His race is this weekend. He doesn't have time.
No. I hear you. What I would say to him is, whatever. If being clipped in is gonna make you self-conscious about your riding, then you shouldn't do it. It has to be something that you're more comfortable doing, because comfort trumps everything. You're going to do your best when you're comfortable. Just think about when you get even if you ride clipped in, you get a new pair of shoes. That's awkward. It just, things don't feel the same. I've had plenty of times where I've gotten stuck in my pedals because I didn't spend the time setting them right. I just threw new clips on or threw new cleats on, and I went out and my pedals were tight because my other shoes had worn out cleats. And
whoa, wait a minute. I didn't see this.
Oh, perfect. Here's the thing. When you're as tall as that guy, his manual, the front tire is probably an inch off the ground. So it seems like low risk.
It does seem like low risk.
No, Lenosky gets it. That guy's got a command of the nuance like few others do.
I wonder if he has any manual tips. Hang on a second. I'm trying to.
Can you bring him in?
I'm trying. Hang on.
Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say because I'm still certainly a student of the manual game.
You know what? Hang on. Copy to clipboard. Yeah, hang on. I'm going to text him and see. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's scared to come in with us, honestly. I love Jeff, but
Jeff rules.
He knows how to manual, so no pressure on him. But I just sent him
the link.
I just texted him the link, so we'll
come on in here, Jeff Lenosky.
You want to tell him about his new bike, don't you?
No.
Don't you want to talk to him about his new bike?
I was just going to tell him I've got a windbreaker from '83 that matches that thing perfectly. I'll give him.
Jeff, I think that bike is rad looking. Josh says your guys' knowledge and enthusiasm is awesome. Thank you, Josh. We dig this, dude. This is cool. Like Martin, we agree with you, Martin. He knows more than a thing or two about manuals.
So if
I don't know,
let me just go back to that. If anybody took what I said about Jeff as a negative, I apologize because I didn't mean to insinuate that. The guy's an amazing talent. My point was just that the way that he manuals is so over the top. It's not something the average guy's going to do.
I don't know that guy. I don't know Jeff Kendall Ward.
Oh, that's true. I don't know him.
That's funny. I know you didn't mean that, Martin. Yeah, Jeff's gnarly.
Freaking autocorrect.
Jeff's, well, it's funny because Kendall Weed is kind of like, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe it, but here it is.
Look at this guy.
I did not expect this.
I'm on with my favorite Drew brother and my second favorite Drew brother.
And we can figure out which is which, right?
We're going to let everybody else figure that out. How are you, dude?
Live with Jeff.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man.
If
I were any better, there'd be two of me.
Where are you at in the world right now? Are you home?
Yeah, I'm actually back in New Jersey. I was in Nashville, Tennessee yesterday. We did a candidate bike donation, and now I'm home for a little bit.
How did that go? It looked great on the social medias.
It was good. We started identifying core cities. So before we kind of used to do the candidate stuff all around the country, and now we're kind of targeting Denver, Nashville, and Hartford, Connecticut. And it's just way better to build a community, do fundraising, all that kind of stuff. So I think in the past year, not even in the past 8 months, we've given out about 1,500 bikes in.
So is that decision based on need? By assessing the need, or is it just by reception, like places that are more receptive to the idea?
So
or a combination of both.
Yeah, so they're low income schools, Title I schools. So they receive federal funding and stuff. So we work with Boys and Girls Club programs, stuff like that. So it's always kids in need, but then obviously the fundraising component, like we need somebody to support it. Yeah. And we did a fundraising project in Nashville last summer. It went really well. Just completely by happenstance, there was an employee of Journey's there, and she fell in love with the program and ran it up the
Journey shoes.
Yeah, Journey shoe store. Yep. And now they're like a huge supporter of Candid. So it was just like total coincidence. We were doing an event. She came, saw it, dug it, ran it up to the decision makers, and now Journey's is a huge supporter. And then, there's the domino effect. Once one corporation gets on and other ones see the positive effect, in Nashville's, huge for business right now. A lot of companies are moving there.
Oh my
stuff
God.
like that. It's been pretty awesome.
I haven't spent a lot of time there, but Nashville or Tennessee seems to be a great mountain bike state. From the little I've seen, they got a lot going on.
Yeah,
it is.
Knoxville, we had a great time.
Yeah, I think Knoxville is amazing, and Knoxville is super cool, and then even places like Nashville where it's a lot flatter.
Nashville, hot like chicken. Got to get some of that hot chicken.
Dude, I got Nashville at this place, Hattie B's. It's like a famous
Hattie B's. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
I went there and got
that's my spot, bro.
I got the damn
I've been to several locations at Hattie B's.
Yeah, I got the damn hot. Last time I was there with Lance Trappy, he got this whatever the super hot one was. I don't know how he did it. I did the damn hot. Second from the top.
With a free roll of toilet paper and a fire extinguisher.
Dude, it's hot. It's really hot.
Yeah, that's brutal. We went there when we went out to do that clinic in Johnson City, and these guys all got the super hot stuff. And I just thought, no way, dude. I'm not going to experience the wrath of that the next day.
Yeah. On the bike, you're all, excuse me.
Yeah. I got to run.
Skulking off into the woods.
So what's new in your world, Jeff? We're going to have you talk about manuals a little bit. I'm going to have your input, but I just want to know, what are you up to besides making really cool looking bikes?
Well, yeah, I got that bike painted. That was super sweet. That I actually made the YouTube video. I was like, when you make the stuff, like you film all kinds of stuff and then you got to cut stuff out. That was actually not a new bike. That was my bike from last year. And I just wanted to repaint it. And then I started to tell the story in the video, and it's like too long to like talk about a paint job and the fact that it's a repainted bike, whatever. So it's, for all intents and purposes, it's a new bike. But that's one of the cool things.
Like painting it, Jeff, I feel left out.
You're too busy.
Is my paint work not good enough for you? I'm not too busy for
Well,
Jeff.
I mean, so I started following.
I can't paint a bike for you, Rich, but for Jeff, I could definitely get it done.
I started following that guy Technar online. He does all those.
He's awesome. I love that guy. I love that guy.
So I started following his stuff, and I thought it looked cool. And then I was looking at my hardtail, and I'm like, this thing's kind of looking a little beat up. Maybe I should refresh it a little bit. And it's we powder coat our frames, so it's hard to powder coat a powder coated frame. You just prep it. We just prepped it and wet painted it over the top. So it was kind of out of necessity, but it's cool. Like when I used to ride for Giant, every time I build a bike, it was like, it was just like a 6-month thing. Like, it's either going to break or you're just going to get a new one. Like, you're not really that invested into a bike. And with Reeb, our suspension bikes, we keep updating the frames and stuff like that. So I usually get a new bike every year, not because I need to, but just got to be on the newest stuff. But with the Hardtail, this was going into year 2, but the thing's like totally perfect. Like, you don't need to build a new steel frame every year. Yeah. But it was a little scuffed up and whatever, so I just figured I'd get a sick paint job. And then once you do that, then you got to get sick wheels, and you might as well paint the fork and match all other kinds of stuff. So it just get into the wormhole. But it's kind of cool, like building those bikes. You feel like I never really put that much time and effort into building a bike before, like I said, because it's always just here today, gone tomorrow. But now I like really put a lot of time and thought into it.
So let me ask you this then, dude. And I think we've talked about this a long time ago, and it started earlier. Somebody asked on this, and people always ask, dude, why don't you ride a hardtail? Why don't you ride a hardtail? Dude, can you get me a bike to ride for a couple months?
I probably could get you one of the ridiculous hardtails. It's awesome.
I think, dude, that's what I rode in Sedona.
Exactly. So we changed the frame sizes now. So you would probably ride our new medium, which is probably a little bit shorter than what you rode. I did this whole video last year and stuff like that. The first year we came out with that bike, there was only 3 sizes. And I thought, since there's so much standover and everything, there's no reason to have 4 frames, 3 was enough.
Yeah.
And then I was actually bumping between an old medium and our large, so because I felt like our old large was a little bit too long. Yeah. So we decided to make that an extra large, and then we added a large, which made the old medium a little bit smaller, and then it made the old small a little bit smaller. So now you could size up or size down. And I explained in a couple of videos, like I took that bike to the Pacific Northwest, and you ride steep, loamy trails out there, and the extra long frame is pretty cool. But then I ride around back east, and I can't bunny hop it. I can't do ride down the trail and do a 180 or like little jibby stuff. And that's kind of like what I really enjoy doing. But the bike
that's your signature moves. You got to be able to do that.
Yeah. So, that long slack geometry works for suspension bikes. But, when you compare those measurements on static bikes, you have to consider that, say, for instance, if you're riding a 475 reach on a suspension bike, the second you do any kind of dynamic movement, like do a bunny hop, a punch, something like that, you're pushing the bottom bracket down. You're effectively pulling your handlebars towards you, and you're making that bike quite a bit shorter. So that 470 reach becomes a 450, things like that. So those bikes ride a lot shorter.
That's funny. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm cold trickle, baby. I just ride. Give me
Totally.
that bike and ride it. So, dude, you're coming out for Bentonville Bike Fest, aren't you?
Yeah, that's probably like the biggest event I have next. So I'm pretty excited. Next week I'm going to, and I don't even know if anybody knows this. Hopefully people will be stoked when they see me. I'm going to Highland Mountain to do a guest coaching gig at one of the adult camps.
Oh, dude, that's
so I'm just gonna show up, and it's not a trail boss camp or anything. I'm just going to do the Highland camp because I just want to kind of see how they do things. They already have a bunch of adults signed up. It's going to be super fun. It's a great place to ride, and they asked me if I wanted to do it, and I just said sure. So it's not a Lenosky camp or Trail Boss Academy or anything. It's a Highland camp. I'm just going to be a guest coach. So to learn a little bit about the way they do it, and then work with the students. So that'll be super fun. That's next weekend.
That's cool.
Is park season in full swing back east?
Totally. Everybody's opened last week or this, if not last week, this weekend. Nice. Mountain Creek has the Pro GRT this weekend, so that should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was there earlier today doing some coaching, and the KHS team was there, and everybody's starting to roll in. So there'll be, all the fast all the fast U.S. racers will be there this weekend.
Yeah, dude, Nesterov is ripping right now. That kid's going so fast.
Yeah, totally. It'll be interesting. They had the downhill Southeast last weekend, and just watching Nico ride, you do the track walk. Guys like us visualize how we would ride it.
And then he rides it the way he rides it, and you're like, oh, I didn't see that.
They don't look at holes in the ground. They just look at the tops of everything, and just
it's just A to B, baby.
I'm going over it. Martin's got a question for you, dude. He wants to know the difference between the Ridiculous and the Diculous 2.
So, not to hijack this podcast with too much Reeb stuff, but the Diculous 2 is our original hardtail. So that is more of a traditional trail bike. That is a little bit more of a normal diamond frame design. So if you want to put bags inside it, whatever, slightly larger front triangle, room for 2 water bottles, maybe even 3, depending on your frame size, 67-degree head angle, and slightly shorter reach. And then the Ridiculous, but now there's different sizes on the Ridiculous, so you can size up or down. But the Ridiculous, when we went to the Ridiculous, it was a 65-degree head angle, so it got slacker. The rear end stock comes with a fixed rear dropout, not a sliding, because I just figured I wanted my dropouts a certain length, and I didn't need them to slide. It's just more complicated, so we just wanted to keep it simple. So non-sliding rear dropout.
Is it less friendly for single speed? Because the dropout's not adjustable? Or do you put a
exactly? But if somebody wants a single speed, we can totally make a custom one and put the slide dropout in there. But just for production,
that's what's so cool about them.
Yeah, and significantly more standover height. So, say the extra large Ridiculous or the extra large Ridiculous I was riding would have a 21-inch top tube, look like similar to like the bike that my new bike got painted from the era that was traditional diamond XE frame,
old school.
That was a 21-inch top tube or C tube, sort of horizontal top tube. The new one is I think it's a 17, so just way more standover. But with dropper posts, you kind of don't need a tall bike. But for people that want the Ridiculous, they might build it up as a bike packing bike or whatever. So they still want that larger front triangle and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense, dude. That's
you can put a couple of water bottles in there, a bag, whatever. So.
Nice. What about this one? How about Lenosky as a guest host at a TRS, at a ride series clinic? I would love that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And the reason that can happen, Jeff, is because you have something that we're looking for out of coaches. It's called actual experience. Relevant
ridden a bike a little bit.
Yes.
Got a couple of years under your belt there, son.
We don't want to get into that. I just thought it was a fun way to make money. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there you go.
Looking for
Rich
a summer job.
Rich is just poking you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poking.
Do you have a level 1?
Exactly. What certification are you?
Let's not. We are master. I don't know if we told you that, but we are the only 2 Ride Series Master certified instructors and facilitators in the globe, in the hemisphere, in the stratosphere.
Dude, I had so one of the 2 of the reasons why I got decided to do the coaching thing at Highland Mountain. Number 1, they've always been super good to me. Whenever I go to Highland, I could not see those dudes for a couple years. They'll hook me up, with whatever I need. So they've always been super kind to me. And I've known the owner, Mark, for a really long time. I know the manager, Dave Smutok, for a really long time.
Is Andrew Lester there? Do you know Andrew Lester?
I don't know Andrew.
I think we need to plan a rendezvous with Jeff Lenosky at Highland.
Yeah.
But those guys have always been super cool to me. And then I got on the phone with their main coaching instructor, like the guy that trains their coaches. And he was super like-minded, like the 3 of us. He doesn't care about certification. He's taken or watched pretty much every ski, snowboard, mountain bike coaching type of thing you can do.
Yeah.
But he just uses kind of best practices from everything to come up with a coaching curriculum for Highland. That's not like PMBA or whatever.
Yeah, as long as it's
I don't even know what they are.
I think results driven is the key.
Right. And he realizes that all those things are, fluid in the way you teach things, and you just set different milestones for the students and things like that. And, some people are going to get from A to B different ways than others. And it's not like get in your attack position and, ride down the trail. So it's super interesting. So I wanted to do it just to see the way that they conduct their business, because I thought it'd be pretty interesting, and I just wanted to, they asked me to do it, and I figured it would be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So then when is that? Next week?
Yeah, so that's the first weekend in June, and then the second weekend in June, we have a Candid bike donation in Erie, Pennsylvania, and then heading out to Bentonville with Lance Trappy, which will be super fun. Yeah.
That'll be cool. So
so Rob, are you going to Bentonville? Because I DM'd Rob the other day, and he said it's up to you.
It's up to Rich. I don't know. He hasn't engaged me yet. I'm in standby mode. I'm waiting for engagement.
We're asking you right now, Rich. Is Rob
we'll
allowed
see.
to come?
He's always
to the Bentonville bike
he's always allowed to come, dude, but it's just so challenging because the dude's so busy with work. People think that he is like me and that he makes his living riding a bike, and he doesn't. Makes his living. Well, I think he makes his living sending me Instagram stuff. So, dude, we have our
early morning scrolls. I got to send Rich a bunch of funny
morning.
Stuff.
I'll look at date stamps, dude. We have a new coach. We have a new full-time coach named Mason, and we're on this group on Instagram. And the other day he tells me, he's like, dude, the amount of stuff that Rob sends is amazing. Like, how much time does he spend on Instagram?
Well, when I see, so Mason has got a moto background, a road racing background, and road racing motocross kid's amazingly well-versed. But when I see something relevant to moto, I'm like, oh, I got to send this to Mason. So there's a lot of,
that's awesome.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. When you get caught in that reels cycle, boy,
you get caught in
the reels. Go to tap the volume to turn the sound off, and then it takes me to reels, and then it's just down the rabbit hole, baby.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
I will, after this, I will check with Rob. I'll check with Rob's boss and see what his schedule looks like.
My schedule has been clear for this event for a long time. I've not booked anything so that could be available. Dude, it's a Bike Fest. Are you kidding me?
What are you going to be doing?
That's my question for you. Is
well, no, I'm asking Jeff.
Okay.
What are you going to be doing at the event, Jeff?
So Kenny usually has me lead some of the rides for his sponsors and stuff like that. I've been a friend of his for a while, so kind of help him out. Last year I ran a pretty loose program. I just led the rides for Kenny. This year I will probably find out what he wants me to do and then I'd love to put a group ride on the schedule, or maybe do something with you guys. That would be super fun. And I'm even kicking around the idea of entering the trials competition.
Hey, don't call it a comeback.
Coming out of retirement.
Yeah,
don't call it a comeback.
I had no idea how good it was going to be, and they had like an actual like master's class. I'm 51 years old. I can't. First of all, I ride a 27.5 trials bike with gears. Like, even if I was 20-year-old Jeff Lenosky, he's not getting through those courses. You need a custom trials bike. Plus, I'm like old enough to be their dad. So last year I saw that they had a proper like master's class or veterans class. Yeah. And the courses were like reasonable. And I was like, well, shit, next year I want to do that. So probably going to enter the trials competition as well.
Yeah. That's cool, dude. Yeah. I can't wait to see that. I just want to watch, man.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
There with my GoPro.
I'll be there heckling you on the sidelines.
full heckle. Okay, we'll have to see what we can do. We're doing breakout clinic sessions one Friday afternoon and then all day Saturday. But I blocked out Sunday completely. So I think there needs to be at least the better Drew brother, me.
And I'm fearful that at 51, I've aged out of the ride series. Like I've grown out of my usefulness now. We're trying age discrimination.
Yeah. We're trying to keep it young. There's only room for one of us with a gray beard. That's why I shaved mine off. So
nice.
Yeah. I'll check and see if we can get Rob out. I think that would be cool. There's some rad new stuff that I want to show you too, Jeff. So from when you were out here last year with Drew or whenever that was, dude, there's so much more now.
Cool. That'd be awesome.
It's a whole new place.
Yeah, it's cool. So hang on. What is this? Who's Jack Carthy?
That guy is the world champion. Like if you Google him or Google him. Look him up on YouTube. Unbelievable. Like
trials guy?
Yes. You can't even believe the stuff this guy does. Unbelievable. Okay. Competition style. So just like amazing. Absolutely.
Like Spider-Man on a bike.
Yeah. So the other thing that you'll have to do, Jeff, if you haven't already been told about it, is there's a new spot called Zone 4 that is this super, oh God, dude. It's this heinous section that's like a little over 2 miles long. And it's just rocks on rocks on rocks. And if anybody cleans it, you get this custom jersey from Oz Trails, and nobody's been able to do it, and nobody's going to be able to do it.
Really?
Oh, dude, yeah, it's absurd. Kenny couldn't.
Challenge dropped.
Kenny couldn't? Yeah.
Nah. Dude, you need to have such elite fitness. Like, it just never ends. They literally took a bike and put rocks, the wheelbase of the bike. It's gnarly, dude. Like, see, that's funny.
It's not just trials features. It's like purpose built so you can't get over it rock features.
This guy Casey says. So do you know when you're getting in? Are you coming just for the event, or are you getting in a little early?
I think I'm coming. I still got to plan it, but I think I'm coming Thursday, but staying a tiny bit after.
Okay. If you're staying after, then we can go out there and make a video.
Cool.
We could go like Monday or Tuesday and make a video out there. That'd be a good one. Because
that'd be fun with Lance as well.
Yeah, because he's pretty good with that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what this means, Rob. Can you climb Horse Thief drop in?
I've never been there. I saw Jeff do it, and so I would love to go there and just see what it actually looks like in person. It looks gnarly on video, and so when something looks gnarly on video,
what is it? Where is it?
Probably pretty gnarly.
Where is
it? Horse Thief dropping is in Fruita, Colorado. You've definitely seen videos of people riding down it. Yeah,
there's tons of video of it.
So
everybody goes down it, but Jeff rode up it.
The reason it's popular is because the loop around the bottom, Mary's Loop, I believe it's called, is a super popular loop, super scenic, whatever, to ride. And in order to get to it, there's a hike a bike down and a hike a bike out. But people like yourself would ride down it, no problem. Super challenging, but it's a real technical drop in. So about 11 years ago, I was there and I rode down it, and it's crazy how much it's changed. But then coming back up, I was like, I wonder if you could ride up this thing, like literally 11 years ago, and tried once or twice, couldn't even like remotely get close. So then 5 years ago, I guess, went out there. It was when I first started Trail Boss Series, and I thought I was going to try to climb up it because I remembered it from 11 years ago. And I took maybe a half a dozen tries and was like, dude, this thing is impossible. Plan B was to go to Fruita and ride, or Grand Junction and ride the lunch loop trail. So if you ever saw my Trail Boss Grand Junction lunch loop trail, It was because I went to horse thief and couldn't even remotely come close, and then just like pulled ripcord and did the other one. So then a year later, I was riding for Reeb. I went there on a hardtail, and I rode down horse thief. And this is how ridiculous it is. Rode down a trail that, 5% of riders can ride down, like on a hardtail, but it's not uncommon. That thing got 75,000 views or something riding down it, which is fairly common. And then I climbed it and it might have gotten 50 or something. And I've never seen anybody.
Yeah.
I've never seen a video of somebody doing it uncut. There was one trials guy that made a video, but there was, I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm not saying he couldn't, because Ariel Fontenay is awesome. He probably very well could have. And there's if you're a trials rider, there's nothing on that climb that's, impossible or whatever. But it's just like trying to make 50 free throws. And it's like, who's going to be the idiot that will sit there and sit there and try to make 53 free throws? Like somebody else would try 20 times and be like, okay, 30 times, screw it. I was the idiot that tried to do it. So I've seen Rob climb. He's probably a better pedaler climber than me, but you need trial skills. I don't think you have that one. Like,
no, gotta have the hops. Gotta have the hops for that one.
Yeah, that one you have to have the hop. So I would give you some climbs, but not over me for sure. Like respectfully, but not that one.
Yeah, well, I'm eager to get with you and spend some time. I need some tips from you how to progress in that skill set, because it's so foreign to me.
Yes.
Do you know who's Dave Roper's brother?
I don't know.
There's a guy, Dave Roper, racing enduro now, kind of coming on, but he's a moto trials guy. And his brother is a current very high level. I think he finished second in the US last year. I rode with those guys out here, and it's amazing the dexterity that they have on the bike. And I just can't even get my head around it. And I try to like pull the bike up and hop on the back wheel. It's completely ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
it's very embarrassing. Yeah. It's very embarrassing.
It's just like when you're 18 and you have nothing else to do, you don't mind spending 10 hours a day practicing that stuff. And now when you got shit to do as a grown up, it's a little bit harder to take the time, but it's just reps. That's all it is.
So Bruce says lower bareback in Marquette. Is that a pretty gnarly one?
That was a really hard one too. That was a purpose-built downhill trail, and I climbed that one. That was pretty freaking hard too. But a lot of those climbs, like I try never to hop, unless if you see me hop, it's really friggin' hard. Like I try not to hop. Yeah. Jeff Kendall Weed busts my balls sometimes because he'll be like, "Oh, I see you using cheater pedals," because I like to clip in like you guys on the trail. And it's like, dude, if I want to hop 75,000 times like you do, then I can put on flats too, but I like to power into the pedal.
Trying to pedal up it. Yeah, that's what I kind of hit him back on the waterfall, because I was like, yeah, let's see you pedal up it now.
No.
Yeah. Bring your pogo stick next time.
Yeah, totally. It's like, wow. I've ridden in trials for 30 years. Like I can ride flats, but I like to clip in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important though to have both skills, It's
shut
just
your
different,
mouth. Shut your mouth.
Stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have ridden BMX in the past and whatever. You have the fundamentals.
Dude, yeah.
I can ride on flat pedals. It's not a problem. I just don't enjoy it like I do riding.
Totally.
Clip.
Yeah, and it's completely different. But for trials, that's all you use, right? Like for trials, you use flat pedals.
Well, that's because of necessity. If you're doing a trials competition, you've obviously watched one before. Like if you put your foot down, it's a point. If you were to just slip and tap your knee to the ground or your hip, and maybe this is like an off-camber thing you're trying to ride. So we're talking like just a little bobble. Like if your knee touches the ground or your hip or something because you didn't unclip, that's 5 points, and that's literally going to decide between winning and losing. Out. You ride all day, and it's usually decided by 1 or 2 points. So, sure, if you could clip in, it probably would be better, but it's not worth the risk if you happen to fall off. And then the other thing is, I would get into heated debates like I've seen you guys do sometimes with people, well, I ride clips and I can, why don't you ride clips for trials? I can unclip no matter what. And it's like, dude, I can unclip on the trail, but when you're doing the trials, when you jump up to back tire and you're like literally vertical, sometimes like that's a different position. Like that's hard to unclip from, So
I would never speak on that because I've never done anything like that.
So there's unclipping on the trail proficiently, and there's clipping when you're like blasting your bike up to back tire and like sticking and hanging off the back of the bike, and then shit goes wrong and you got to unclip. Like that's a different thing. And again, it's not you're not going to unclip, so it's just not worth the risk of doing it. So yeah, sure, you could be connected to your bike and do Spider-Man stuff if you were clipped in, but it's just not worth it. Like the risk.
Yeah.
The risk of dabbing, not the risk of like falling, the risk of dabbing.
Well, some of the stuff I've seen where guys will hop and like hook the front wheel over something 7 feet tall. And they're like hanging off the bike, holding with the brakes, and then they do like a pull up and throw the bike over the top. I'm just like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nuts.
And I'm sure you guys probably agree too. Like the biggest benefit I think for riding clip pedals are for when you're doing stuff where the trail's relatively flat.
Yeah, you want to unload it and you don't have an obstacle.
Yeah, when you're going down really steep stuff or you're going up really steep stuff, you have a lot more mechanical advantage of the bike. You can get under the bars and do a wheel lift or something like that. So, if I was going to do a punch, if I'm doing a punch onto a curb all day long, it's easier on clips because you don't have the mechanical advantage. If it's onto a picnic table, it doesn't make any difference because you're not using your feet anyway. Once your front tire's up, you can get right under the bars and push it up.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. It's on that real low stuff. That's why I kind of stopped teaching. Like when I teach people to punch, I used to have them do like wheel lifts on a flat parking lot. And I don't even do that anymore because trying to do a rear wheel lift on a flat parking lot, like it doesn't simulate anything. It's so hard to get your back tire off the ground, and you're never lifting your back tire if your front tire's not on something to begin with.
So wait a minute. Let me get this right. You're not going to teach something that has no actual relevant trail application? Wait, that seems a bit
Come
odd.
on,
So,
guy.
hey, down below, this smoking hot chick right here is asking a question. She says, are there any other humans Jeff's size that do trials? She feels like most would be small and compact, kind of like me.
They are pretty small and compact. There used to be a guy, oh crap, I can't remember, and I feel so bad. Like around the 2000 era when I first started going to like the UCI events, there was another tall guy from France that was really, really good. But it's kind of rare.
Yeah, but he doesn't count because he's French.
And nowadays, honestly, like those bikes, we used to joke that someday they're going to turn into pogo sticks with wheels. Like the geometry on a trials bike is set up such that like everything is done from the back tire now.
Yeah, they're built to be standing vertical.
Exactly. So they'll have a plus 70 millimeter minimum bottom bracket height. So when you stand, you're way over the axles, and the idea is so that when you're on the back tire, you're not tucked under the bars anymore. You're standing above the rear axle. And then the bikes are so long that when you see those guys do those huge jumps, it's almost better to be a little bit smaller because then the bike is much longer.
Yeah.
And they're not just world-class bicycle athletes. Like any of those really good trials riders could probably do plyometric stuff with the best plyometric people in the world as well. Like if you ever look on YouTube, there's a guy, Andre Burton, who does like the most amazing trial stuff ever. And he competes in like the Ninja Warrior over in Europe and like literally makes it to the finals every year. Like that dude can do plyometric stuff and trials. Yeah, he's just like an explosive athlete. So when the bike is that long and they dip down with their, they're on their back tire, and then they dip down, they could pull on their handlebars as well. And then they have tons of room to throw their body as they jump up, where somebody with my size, well, the bikes are designed now that you're not tucked under your bars anymore, but I don't have as much room to throw my body as they would. No. So it actually helps to be small now. It probably doesn't matter. It didn't matter as much back in the day when trials first started out. I was always able to bunny hop better than people, probably because I was so tall. But then the downside is you would get on something high and eventually got to come down. And when you're, back then I was probably only 205 pounds. And when you do that and shit is like not downhill stuff, you're going to wreck your bike.
Yeah, I bet. So do you have some kind of go-to teaching tips for that? Like, I'm serious, dude. When you're here, I would love for you to show me just some basic stuff because, dude, like I cannot bounce, like hop and rotate.
Like the pedal kick from the back wheel.
Oh, dude, I got no prayer of that.
I can't do that. I'll wind up in the hospital.
Yeah, we could definitely session that. To answer this question that's on the screen right now, though, he's asking what bike I have. I have a custom trials bike from Reeb, and I actually just got it made last year. It's a 27.5 trials bike, so it's really like a super nimble mountain bike, not a trials bike. I like to call it a trials bike.
That's your style, though, right?
It's that's what
you've always.
Yeah, it's the most trialsy bike I've ever owned because prior to this, I used to ride dirt jump bikes for trials. So this at least has a 0 drop BB. It has a real steep head angle. It's really low standover. So I have a video on my YouTube channel from last fall. You can look at it, and I talk about that bike and ride it. So yeah, let's definitely session that when I come out there for the bike fest.
So Kalele says sometimes he feels tall. Dude, he's got to be 6'6", 6'7", easy. I'll let him chime in, but he might be, dude. He's a super, super tall dude, and I'm sure you'll see him at Bentonville Bike Fest. He's a local dude. Are you excited for that event, Jeff?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I love coming to Bentonville. Super fun.
What's your favorite part of being in the mountain bike capital of the world?
I'm bummed right now. Now I'm looking at the screen. I totally should have put the Jeff Lenosky.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
Next time, bro.
I like going there with newer riders or not newer riders, but riders looking to progress. I mean, for me, I like, I just like the diversity of everything, but I like when I go there with different riders who are looking to improve their skills, how there's like so much progression. It's not like a lot of places you go and it's only big jumps or whatever. And there's really good logical progression at a lot of those different session spots around, whether it's Slaughter Pen or Kohler or whatever, you can, progressively ride different trails and work your way up to bigger and bigger stuff. And then it's cool because you could do that with friends and help them increase like their confidence on the trail. Yeah. And then, some of the stuff is huge stuff. Like we're all pro riders, whatever you want to call us. And there's stuff that like, I'll look at, I'm like, damn, that's a public access feature.
Yeah.
Like you go to Kohler or something, like somebody's riding this on a Tuesday afternoon just for the hell of it. Like this isn't Red Bull Rampage. Like there's some legit big stuff and it's all built.
So it was funny last time when we rode, and I think I told you this, Rob, Jeff did that double at the bottom of All American.
That fast one.
So you come in, you come in super fast. It's double.
To the side of the jump, double turn,
double out.
Yeah.
That was hard.
And dude,
that's gnarly. That's high risk.
It's gone.
Rich makes it look so easy.
I thought you were just there with somebody.
Nah, I
was.
Was
that GNBN guys?
Yeah, dude, we were there at the GNBN guys, and dude, Neil hit the tree coming out.
I saw that.
Yeah, dude, like he hit the tree and scratched himself all up. It was gnarly, dude.
So they took that.
What did they do? They just redesigned it a little bit.
No, dude, the museum is expanding. So that street right there, that street's closed. Like you can't even go on that street. So the museum's all coming out. So they built a bunch of new stuff. I mean, there's going to be something else. That was iconic, but dude, there's so much other stuff.
I'm glad I got it then.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do it again.
Well, and what's funny is in the grand scheme of things, very few people ever hit that. Like so many local people couldn't do it. They tried it. They could never do it. And high level people that came in, dude, a lot of them had trouble with that. Like you guys.
It was an aggressive move.
Little feather.
You had to come in with a lot of speed.
So Jeff,
that corner
just
didn't
menacing.
feel good.
Did we go hit the double, the paved double?
Choo-choo.
I don't think so.
Okay. We're going to have to
go. Is that the paved berm?
It's like a big snake.
It's all the paved berms.
No, I rode that on a group ride last year, and as I was rolling through, I remember watching a video of you doing it.
Yeah.
And I was on a ride, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's the thing that Rich rode through. Whoa, that's pretty big." But I didn't get a chance to get back there and really look at it or whatever. I just was like, "Oh, that's that spot."
It's not bad. It's very nuanced, but
yeah,
it's not horrible. The GMBN guys did it. Blake hammered it, no problem. Neil wasn't too stoked on it. Like, he hit it a couple times and said, "Nah, I'm done." And Rich Payne was like, "Nah, I'm not even gonna try it." Like, really? I'm good. I won't even worry about it. Yeah. It was pretty funny. But that's like, Rob, I mean, dude, that took you a little bit to figure out.
Yeah, since it was paved. Well, I got it the first time, and then when it was paved, it was different. And yeah, I have all that footage. I went back through it.
Yeah,
I never really did much with it, but it's pretty good.
I saw it. It is
because I got the commentary from you on it.
Well, there's a couple other ones too. Like, there's this new zone called G6, Jeff, that I'll take you to. That's rad, and there's some stuff there that's kind of cool. Nothing crazy, but just really fun, like chunky rock double stuff that not everybody would see. And then we got this other wooden roller one. So I'll send you a link to it as soon as the first comes, first or second. We'll send it. We're doing this thing called Gnarly Sends. So it's an Element video. And there's these wooden rollers, these 3 wooden rollers, and we triple them. And so that's another one that
you've been doing that series now, right? Gnarly Sends.
Yeah, we just did 2. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
I think we got Element. We're making some videos for Element, and we're just trying to come up with different things. And I thought that one was kind of cool. I don't know how it's going to go over. Like, I'm waiting for some of the powers that be to reach out and say, "Hey man, don't do that." Like, we have enough trouble keeping people from being injured. Now you're going to get somebody killed trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's that aspect for sure, but then it's all like, it kind of makes me, the original premise of my Trail Boss channel was like, oh, I'm going to go around and ride all these unrideable trails, and then a season into it, you're like, shit, there's kind of like, there's unrideable. If you don't ride a popular trail. Like, when I climb the waterfall, I need people like Rob and other people to be like, shit, that's really hard. Or I've tried that 100 times, or I've seen that. Like, if it's in my backyard, nobody cares, because every single thing looks easy and everybody assumes they can do it. They have to be popular things. That's why it's awesome at Bentonville, because a lot of people ride those trails, so they could identify, and they're like, oh crap, he did that. But you do start to run out of stuff eventually.
There's a ton of
Although
stuff
maybe not at Bentonville. There's enough inventory there that you might not.
Well, and what's great is every time you go back, like if you haven't been there in a year, it's a totally different place.
Yeah.
It's good and bad, because some of the things you were looking forward to going back and doing a better job with, all of a sudden they're gone. You're like, ugh. But then the new thing is cool.
Well, yeah, so you're constantly having to look. Like, we're now looking for other things. And it's fun for me because we got our new guy, Mason. The kid's a ripper, dude. He's game to hit anything huge, and he has the vision. Like, he'll see something and go, oh, wait a minute, that's realistic. Like, we could triple that, or we could quad that. And you don't get that. You don't get that with everybody. Awesome. So
that's awesome.
That's cool. Well, I'm going to pull this up real quick one more time, because you weren't on here, Jeff. I think you got on late, but last time we did a live, I have a buddy who actually does some film work for us, and he filmed the Minority Mountain Bikers event, and he's editing that. But he's got a son who's 11, had a brain tumor, and they had to have it removed. And unfortunately, it showed to be malignant. So now they have to go through chemo and radiation. So we're trying to support them as best we can. So last time we did this, all in, everybody gave $500. I matched it. And then somebody reached out and said, I'm going to match it. So I was able to send them $1,500. And so we're doing the same thing with this one, and we're doing pretty damn well. We got almost 500 here. I'm going to match it again, and Rob is going to match it again. So I just wanted to throw, Joshua was pretty funny. He had a couple of choice comments earlier that were great, but he threw up $100. So I think there might even be more people that are hopping in now. So if anybody is down to support a little bit, my man Casey gave, I think 2. He gave like 100 and then 20. So I totally forgot about the super chat thing. Like I never think about it because I'm not programmed. And what we said earlier was every time we do these now, we're going to decide who we give the super chat to. So what I would like to do, since you're on here, at one point in one of our lives, and maybe it could be you coming on, I'd like to give all of our super chat to the Candide Foundation. So
that would be awesome.
I would love to do that. You can join us for something at some point. But then also, I think
maybe we all do a live from Bentonville.
Yeah, we can maybe do that. But I think another one, because somebody had a great idea, is at some point, dude, let's get you to a Ride Series MTB Skills Clinic. And then what we'll do with that also is we'll give a pretty healthy percentage to the foundation as well. So all 68 people on here that are listening, they're going to have to hold us to that. So,
whoa, dude, man,
look at the trail boss.
With the thunder late in the event.
Not matching, but it's something.
That's huge, dude.
I love that, dude.
That's
awesome,
huge.
Jeff.
It was that was not even to get you to do that. It was just to bring it back up so everybody sees. But, that is awesome, dude. You are a legend, and I want to share one of my favorite Jeff Lenosky stories. I've told this probably 17 times. I'm going to tell it for the 18th time because it's really cool. I don't even remember what year it was. It was a long time ago, and we were at Sedona Mountain Bike Festival doing a group ride. And here comes the legend, Jeff Lenosky, rolls over and says, "Hey, man, can I come on your group ride? You guys cool with that?" And I remember looking at Rob, and like time stopped for a second because I'm thinking, Jeff Lenosky's asking us. He's asking us if he can come on our group ride. Like, is he jacking with us? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. And that was super
being real cool to me, and it's making me uncomfortable.
That was awesome. That was Teapot or whatever, right?
Oh yeah,
we rode Teapot. Yeah, I remember that.
It was so fun, and everybody just had a rad. I just remember everybody having fun. We lost a lot of people, but the ones that stayed with us had a great time.
I'll take responsibility for that. I made a bit of a wrong turn with half the group into somebody's backyard.
It was super cool. Nice. Well, Jeff, dude, I appreciate you jumping on last minute. This is super cool. It wasn't planned. You're great. You're a great sport. I'm gonna. I thought
I was gonna drop a comment and troll you guys just to mess around and bust balls like we usually do.
Yeah,
now we supported to a good cause and had a fun conversation.
Yeah. Well, Casey says that you're a trail boss and a trail leader, and that you are awesome. And cool. I couldn't agree more, dude. I'm
Jeff Lenosky, one of the good guys.
I'm excited to hang out with you when you come in. So make sure you leave yourself open for a decent amount of time, and then after, and we can offline, we can get it figured out. But the Monday or Tuesday after, dude, let's go make a video there. I'll bring the crew, Jeff, because I have a crew. I don't shoot, I don't edit any of my stuff, bro. I can't. I got no time for that sort of stuff. So we'll get the
shining star.
We'll get the crew. Yeah, we'll get the crew out. Martin says thanks, Jeff, for coming on. I think Martin's a fellow Trials fan, so we'll make that happen. I'll see if I can get Rob here. Have fun at Highland.
Yeah,
cool.
We're looking forward to seeing it on the social media, and then we'll talk to you soon when you get here to the Ville.
Cool. All right, see you guys.
All right, dude. Have a good night. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, bye.
What a treat. What a
how
fantastic
rad
treat. It's always so good to see Jeff. He's such a great guy.
The bike song coming in, guys like you gentlemen, easy with that word, make the MTB world a better place. You know what, dude?
He's a good guy.
I think there's just a lot of really good people in this community. And what I found
Bike Song gets it. He left the golf world to come to the bike community.
Yeah, he does.
Come to the bike world.
It's a super cool community just for a lot of different reasons. And, this one right here, like for Jeff to just throw that up, that's cool. Like that's a lot of money. And for him to say, oh, it's not much, but that's a lot. That's a big thing.
I love it.
And I wasn't saying it. I wasn't bringing it back up. So he would do that. It was more just to remind everybody why we're doing it.
Yeah. I think it's the circumstances. Obviously, a guy like Jeff's going to respond because he's legit.
Well, then what's so crazy now is it's such a small world, dude. Like it's with stuff like this, like how crazy is it that we could do this?
There's certainly more risk.
Yeah.
They are a lot of fun.
A couple clicks
more risk
of buttons. He just pops up. Like he makes a comment. I can invite him to this. It's just, it's crazy, man.
It's so great.
Technology is
anybody anywhere in the world can join it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and what's even crazier, dude, an hour and 50 minutes, and there's still 50 people watching us, these two yahoos talk.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody.
Oh my God, dude.
You know what would be rad is if we did this on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Would it be? If it was a regular basis, people might not care. It might not seem as cool. Like this, Martin, that was cool. 3 of the best together. Like that, 3 of the best together. That just, I don't know, dude.
That means a lot to me.
How crazy is that, dude? Like for somebody to say that, like, I don't know, man. We've said this multiple times, but to have anybody, 52 people, to have 5 people sit in front of a computer and listen to me talk about a bike, it still just absolutely blows my mind, dude.
I can't believe it. I wouldn't listen.
I know you would, but still people do. And it's cool to be able to talk about and share what our experience has been throughout our lives on a bike. And then to be able to connect with somebody like Jeff, and for him to be able to talk about Cand-Aid and what they're doing to get more kids on bikes, to maybe be in a position like this years down the road, to talk about what getting that bike meant to them. So just so cool, dude. Yeah. Such a rad thing. I know we talk about it, and we will do it as much as we can. Casey, we're grateful for you, dude. We'll try to do it more. We do. It's hard, man. I'm going to blame it on Rob. Everybody,
I'll take the blame.
I'm going to blame it on Rob. He's a busy man. So
I always have time. I always have time for the mountain bike community.
Okay.
Nothing holds a candle to it.
Yeah. Just can't wait to show up with the Norco van and let you guys demo some bikes. When is this happening, dude?
I would love to.
Yeah. Like,
come to Phoenix. I'm here.
I'm ready.
Riding every day, man. I got space for you.
Reckman says most social media is antisocial, but this kind of stuff is actually good, connecting good people. You know, it's funny that in my eyes, that's what it's for. You know, there's a lot of stuff that could be talked about. There's a lot of things that I think could very quickly become pretty negative, but you know, you try to give some value and talk, be genuine, speak from your heart. I think as long as you're being real, you know, sometimes it's going to rub some people the wrong way, but as long as there's no malice in it, I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think you evoke some emotion and you get people thinking about some things. And I don't know, hopefully that's what we've done. But what I can tell you is we're not going to go 2 hours, dude. We're going to shut this down.
Shut it down. My dinner's getting cold.
You got to go out while the getting is still good. So,
good talk.
Jeff, I'm not going to say it. Jeff said it. Great podcast every time. Really enjoy.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. It was fun. We're going to do it again soon. We're going to see if we can get Rob to Bentonville Bike Fest now, I guess. I mean,
I think it has to happen. I just
the people
demand it.
So I'm going to have to talk to the boss. We'll see if Sarah Drew, Mama Bear, can make it happen. So, all right, dude, you got anything that you want to leave with, Rob?
I love bikes. That's all I can say.
Nice.
That's all I can say.
All right. Well, all I can say is be positive, smile, especially when you're on the trail, and
be nice to people.
Be nice to people. And over and out.
Over and out. Catch you on the flip side.
All right, everybody. We're going to end the broadcast now.